Hey y'all, it's Kira,
John,
Rachel,
Caitlin,
Dave,
Hunter,
Jake,
Clara,
and you're
we're
listening to the
PureCast,
featuring the BA reps.
your one-stop shop for everything UMTAD.
Hey y'all, hello. Happy December 8th. And y'all, we have a very special surprise for you today. And she's sitting right next to me in the Zoom room.
hello.
Clara.
Hi everyone. I'm Clara Marsh. I am a fourth year in the BFA Guthrie Theater actor training program, and I am also the BFA peer rep.
And I can't even tell you how excited and grateful I am to have you on today and your energy. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Excited to be here. It is
Beautiful.
gorgeous. The sun is shining, y'all.
Yeah. It's a good day. It's a good day. I'm hoping, snow is never really something I wish for unless it's December, unless it's Christmas season. That's when
I hope the snow shows up in time. People are going to be mad.
Right. All right. So we've quite a lot of updates for you actually today. I didn't think there would be, and then they all came flooding in. So we'll get started here. So cool news. I'm so excited for this. I haven't been able to see these before, but the dance composition showing, so this is for Comp 4, so the fourth years, is happening on Monday, December 14th from 4 to 6 p.m. So keep an eye out for the Zoom link. It will be emailed to everyone in UMTAD via Hunter, who is amazing. And so what'll happen, so you'll go to the Zoom meeting for a little intro, and then they'll direct everyone to the performances, which are located in a Google Drive, and then everyone will come back to discuss all of them, which sounds really amazing. I can't wait. And it was so cool. If you caught Ava's takeover on the Instagram, she gave some sneak peeks and they looked so cool.
Yes, all right, BFA and BA, y'all, let's show up for our dancers.
Yes, true. And also announcement for dancers who are graduating. Just to remind you, there is a capstone meeting happening December 11th from 5 to 7 p.m. So make sure you mark your calendars for that. Claire, do the BFAs do capstones or like final projects?
We do. They're called free play. And those will be happening in February.
Okay.
And those dates are coming soon.
Cool. I'm excited.
And the next announcement, we are calling all graphic designers. Northrop is looking for a student intern for their design team. The job title involves graphic design video production student internship, and it is position job ID 338216. Go check it out, y'all, if you have any experience, and get your bread.
Beautiful. And I think that's just online. Like, I think you can just look that up with the job title and number. Yeah. My roommate did something like that recently.
I can't do that. I had to do something for a project yesterday, and I used Microsoft Paint. So that's about the extent of my experience with that.
Gorgeous. I love that so much. Also on my list of things I love is the Guthrie Christmas Carol, which is going to be available for streaming very soon. So tickets, I know. So as we know, it'll be a little different this year than the traditional in the thrust way, but tickets are going to be $10 per household for streaming December 19th through the 31st. And so that includes unlimited streams for you and your familia or pod or bubble. And you can
deal.
I know, right? I know. And so you can purchase those on the Guthrie website. And y'all, the filming looks so cool. They did it in the Pro. And so that's adapted. So the script is adapted by Joe Hodge and E.G. Bailey, who's filming it. And there are 4 actors. They divided it into chapters. So I'm not sure how that is going to look, but it's Megan Kreidler, Charity Jones, Nat Fuller, and Ryan Colbert. And they're
Shout
all
out BFA.
so good. Yeah, true.
BFA grads.
Two of them, right? Ryan and Megan. Cool.
They're also just awesome people, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, I listen to Megan's music all the time. The Kiss the Tiger.
She's just the most badass. I have a very public I'm very public about my fangirling for that band. It's fantastic and wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good people make good music. That's what I say.
True.
There's a Toot Theater acting project that still has a couple of audition slots open this weekend. This is a Minneapolis-based experimental theater. It's a paid filmed opportunity, emphasis on paid, y'all, that we were telling you about a couple weeks ago. Auditions are coming up this Saturday and Sunday, the 12th and the 13th. You can email Eric Larson, who is an UMTAD VA grad, at tootperformance.org. That is TOOT@tootperformance.org, or check out the Sign Up Genius link that we will link in our show notes. I guess their show notes. Or our show notes.
Our show notes too, yeah.
Please prepare a memorized modern or contemporary 1950s to present short 1 to 3 minute dramatic monologue. Suitability for the performance role with regards to gender, age, or character type is not important. That sounds really neat.
Yeah. David Melinda sent out an email to him and was like, y'all, this guy is awesome. Do this thing. So if you're interested, it sounds like a really cool project. And there's still time to do it.
There's still time.
And guess what, y'all? There's still time. There's still room in Barbara Nordstrom's class next spring semester. So it's the Intro to Body and Movement-Based Therapies. In the course, they will explore selected embodied somatic body and movement-based approaches for healing and well-being. Class participants will learn and experience a range of Western embodied approaches that work with the body and movement from holistic and systemic lenses, as well as the application and uses of these approaches with a range of clients, settings, and populations. So the experiential part of the course will include experiential exercises that facilitate the embodiment and deepening of the students' understanding of the course material. It sounds so cool. It's happening, and it's different. It's different than I thought it was going to be. So it's 4 days next semester. So it's Friday the 29th from 3 to 8 p.m., Saturday the 30th from 9 to 4, and then again Friday the 12th of February 3 to 8, and then the next Saturday from 9 to 4. And it's 2 credits. And y'all, okay, John always talks about how if you do the arts management class, you can take class with him. And I'm here to tell you that if you take this movement and body-based therapies, wow, that was a mouthful, movement and body and movement-based therapies, I can take class with you. So please, if you're considering it, I would love to take class with you.
That's so neat.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I unfortunately I'm minoring in the business management minor, and I'm trying to get them to switch so that I can take the arts management class, the wonderful arts management class, as part of my minor requirements. But they're like, nah. I just got an email today that said, nah. And I said, what? No. But I'll figure it out.
Okay.
It'll be okay. Yeah.
Dang it.
I don't have a segue for this one, but I'll go into it. The Twin Cities Musical Theater Dance Intensive is Monday nights and Saturday afternoons on Zoom for 5 weeks in January and February, led by the wonderful Linda Talcott-Lee and Andrea Milson.
Yeah, I don't know Andrea, but Linda Talcott-Lee, Tally is so cool. I love her.
Cool. And Andrea, hopefully we're saying that right. So sorry. That's not on purpose. 5 weeks of group and private instruction that covers everything from technique and skill building to approaching choreographic styles to an amazing and essential dance tool called clinical somatic movement. Go to TwinCitiesMTtraining.com for more info and to register.
For sure. It looks so cool. It looks so amazing.
Anything with the word somatic in it, I feel like, is just extra neat.
Right. True.
Yeah.
And with that one, too, I guess you get like 2 hours of individual time with Andrea on like somatic practices that are individual to you, which I'm considering it, y'all. I really am.
The BFA's very own Lucinda Holshoe is offering a wonderful Kundalini yoga class that I've taken in the past and absolutely loved. It's just so breath-based and grounding for me. And if you're interested in trying out a new form of yoga that's not sort of your standard, the standard of what you see in more of the mainstream vinyasa and things like that, go for it. There are 5 slots left for next semester's class, and it's from 9 a.m. to 10:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I can't recommend it enough. It's absolutely wonderful and has been such an interesting journey for me in my Kundalini practice. And so, plus Lucinda is just, what a gem. Just a gem of a human being.
That's so
Speaking
cool.
of gems of human beings, we have the wonderful pleasure of interviewing Bruce Roach today.
Yay!
Bruce Roach is an actor, director, and educator whose work has taken him across the U.S. and abroad. He is an MFA graduate of the FSU Asolo Conservatory. Favorite roles he has performed include Iago, Leontes, and Richard III. His diverse directing credits range from Shakespeare and Gilbert and Sullivan to Tracy and Suzan Parks. In 2016, he directed Mike Bartlett's Earthquakes in London for the BFA program in the Dowling Studio at the Guthrie Theater. He has been teaching and directing in the University of Minnesota / Guthrie Theater BFA actor training program since 2010. Other highlights of his directing projects for the BFA include Alive the Mind, In Arabia We'd All Be Kings, The Seagull, and The Three Sisters. He's the best. He's just the best. He's wonderful
Really
and a beautiful soul. I'm so excited. Bruce!
Hey, Bruce!
Hi, beautiful human.
Bruce,
Hi.
I don't know if we've officially met in person, but I'm Kira.
Hi, Kira. Nice to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you.
Hi, Clara Marsh.
Hello, Bruce Roach.
We know each other.
We do. Heart to
Beautiful.
heart.
All right. Well, Bruce, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm waiting for, right after I finish with the two of you, I'm going to my first year class for their final project today. Fictional character today, Clara.
Aw, that's what is the project? What does the project entail?
It's each actor has to choose a character from fiction. It can't be someone who ever lived, so no one from history. It has to be someone either from a novel. They can't be a character that originated in dramatic literature of any kind. So they have to be from mythology or a novel or cartoon characters or fairy tale characters. Can be anyone. But then they have to write a monologue as that character. It could be an animal as well, certainly. And they've got a secret that we don't know about them. So they are to portray this character somewhat as we may know them, but then also revealing something that we don't know about them. And because of this secret, they have a particular need from us. And so it incorporates all the different lessons of the first semester of training into this one kind of fun project where you get to take on something really silly, presumably, but also have to play actions and have a point of view and have a strong need from the audience. So it's kind of a fun project that incorporates a lot of lessons as well. Clara, what did you do for your fictional character?
Oh gosh, I think the character's name is Lucy. I was the sister of Jack from the Magic Treehouse book.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah. Is that Mystery and Secret? Is that Guidepost 11, Bruce?
Is that what?
Is that Guidepost 11?
Maybe, yes. Aren't you clever? Yes. It's also an old Uta Hagen thing, having a mystery and secret, for sure.
Shirtlift was really cool about just sort of not stealing, borrowing, using, whatever you want to say, from everybody who knows what they're talking about. So that's really neat.
You know, that's what they say. You know, acting is stealing, right? It's just
we're all just little thieves.
My favorite thing is, favorite idea is that there's no such thing as originality. It's just undetected plagiarism.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I like to think of it as like honoring.
Yeah.
But that's also maybe just for my own conscience.
No, I think that's a great way to look at it. You know.
Yeah.
And no matter what you steal or borrow or honor, it comes filtered through you, so it's going to be different. You know?
Yeah.
maybe stealing a bit of business from an actor that you admire, but it's never going to be the same as they do it. It's always going to be your own. But you're just smart enough to notice how good it is, so you take advantage of that.
Yes. I'm trying to think about how I could justify stealing a TV now. I'm like, how can I apply that to like I'm just filtering this through my lens, and they're gonna like put it back, Clara. I don't like it. Well, I have always wanted to pick your brain about so many things. I mean, so many things. It's so hard to like kind of narrow down questions, but one of the things that has stuck out to me is we were talking about in class one day about age blind casting. And I think through the production that we did, that you and I worked on, the Henriade or A Lovely Rose with Willie Jones this summer, it was so cool to see like Craig Johnson as Hotspur in a role that for his age, you know, in a different sphere of performance would not necessarily have the opportunity to play, but it was so profound, the depth that he brought as, you know, where he is as a person to that character. And I want to know, because you mentioned once in class wanting to play Hamlet. Now that you feel like you know. So I want to know if you could make your dream cast of Hamlet, people that you know, you as Hamlet, I'm casting you as a person in charge, I'm casting you as Hamlet. Who would you want to play with you? It doesn't have to be anybody that anybody else would know necessarily, name drop wise, but.
Oh gosh, well, so if I'm playing Hamlet, they don't necessarily have to be old enough to really be my mother. Yes?
No, it's all about the spirit of the actor, effectively grounding the spirit of that character based on how you view the story. Okay,
well, I'd love to see like Shelley, you know Michelle O'Neill. I'd love to see Shelley play Gertrude. It would be fun to play Gertrude, even though I know I'm older than Shelley. But hey, Mel Gibson was, when Glenn Close played Gertrude, I think she was like 5 years older than Mel Gibson when he was playing Hamlet. So there's you know, precedence for this kind of thing. I think the woman who played Gertrude to Olivier's Hamlet in the film, his old film, was actually younger than he was when she was playing his mother. But sure, Shelley would be great fun. Steve Cardamone as Horatio, of course, as the hero's best friend. I'm trying to include people that you would know in our world.
Oh my gosh, I would kill to see that.
That's a tough one because I wish I'd had time to think about this. Now I'm having trouble.
Sorry, I really put you on the spot. But those are also good. What about the ghosts?
That's a good start, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Steve would hate that. He'd hate having to play the best friend. You know he would.
That's so funny. Yeah. Well, so I did. I mean, you know this, but I have been exploring Hamlet as a character as well. Just because for me and my journey as a queer person, I find it to be an affirming character for me, just based on ideals and how I feel in the world. And I'm interested if there are characters like that you and I don't want to introduce how you identify, but if you as a person in this world, are there characters that you have wanted to play that are outside of the realm of how the binary of society views you? And if so, what are those? And do you think that we will have a space for that, or do have a space for that coming up in the theater?
I think absolutely we will have a space for that, or do already. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope. I've never really thought about my own casting in those kind of terms because we're thinking of all of that in a new way right now, maybe than we did, you know, when I was certainly your age. For myself as an actor, okay, here's something strange. I've never gotten to play myself. I've never gotten to play a gay man on stage. That's just kind of an accident of fate, I guess, and how the weird casting world always works. I just have never had the occasion to. However, I never make assumptions about a character if the playwright has not already done that for us. For example, if there's nothing scripted, about the character's sexuality, then I play them as a gay man. Why would I not?
Yeah,
Why
I
would
totally
not?
do that.
And I think especially in Shakespeare, it's so easy to justify and make sense of in so many situations, because we all know that certainly queer people, gay people existed in Shakespeare's time. It's not as if the whole world was straight and binary. So why not bring that person as close to me as I can? For example, I played Don Pedro in Much Ado About Nothing. And the woman who was playing Beatrice actually was my best friend. And she came up to me at rehearsal one day, just on break or something, and she just said, Don Pedro's in love with Claudio, isn't he? I said, well, of course he is. Of course he is. And there's everything in the text that supports that. At the end of the play, Don Pedro is the only one who is not coupled with someone else. He is left alone, and they make a big deal about it, about how sad he is and how alone he is. And through the whole play, he spends all of his energy trying to make Claudio happy, even though it means helping Claudio win the young woman that he loves, but he wants to see the person that he loves happy. And, that worked for me. That made sense to me. Certainly when I played Friar Lawrence in Romeo and Juliet, hello, he's a man of the cloth, not meaning to make stereotypical, assumptions there, but once again, so easy to transfer myself into that because there's nothing said about the friar's sexual preferences or any kind of gender identity thing at all.
It's great to hear you say that, as I find myself as sort of as someone who has more recently come into my own as a person, and I identify as lesbian and queer because I think queerness is just more, I like both of those terms, so I use them. But I think I sometimes find myself, not only as a queer person, but as a woman, asking for permission to be able to present myself and my queer identity in everything that I do. Because I think anyone who is queer can identify with the duality of hiding and are public and private, and hiding and being open, and having to constantly come out to people and what that means. And I think although we're living in a different time now, I definitely experienced that, well, I can hide behind this dress, and look really straight and nobody will know and I'm safe, and so what does it mean to not do that? And I think about the people who in high school and younger people that I've talked to that have said, oh my gosh, you look so cool. So cool that you wear pants all the time and don't wear dress how you dress. And I think about that, and I think about the next generation of people and what it means for me to be living as myself and what that means for the future. I'm interested in
but I think that's an odd paradox that does exist within our profession, and that is part of our job is wearing a mask. Part of our job is taking on another person's identity and whatever that means to us individually. And hiding behind that dress is sometimes what the job is. Hiding behind a pair of pants or hiding behind a beard, that's a mask. Certainly a beard is a mask. That's me exercising some sort of masculine thing out into the world, however stupid that might be. So I think that's part of our job. And then at the same time, we want to reveal as much of ourselves in the work as we can.
It almost reminds me of what we were talking about earlier, unrelated, but that anything we do comes through a filter of who we are. And so inevitably, even if we're trying to personify a character, it's coming through our own filter, without even our permission. And
sure.
I'm reminded a lot of vulnerability too, and of how kind of expanding that filter to not just something inevitable, but to choosing to open it up can be so such a choice, right?
Yeah, and I've had the strange experience of playing a couple of really, at least as scripted, ultra-masculine military men a few times, and which couldn't be any further than me, from me, I mean. So then it became my challenge, or at least my fun, my thrill, in kind of revealing, well, even this ultra-masculine person in the world has a feminine side. So how do I bring that to this role that might not otherwise be there in the audience's perception of who this guy is in the world, you know? And that became there was a long time when I felt really uncomfortable playing things that I felt were so far from my own experience. And then I realized, okay, I can still bring who I am to this person who is so far from me.
Yeah.
And reveal a part of that person that might not otherwise be there on paper. Yeah.
Yeah. You and I talked about that a lot when I did the A View from a Bridge project. Because I struggled with that a lot because because of all of the things that we were talking about. I mean, I wasn't out to myself at that point completely. I mean, I've always known, but I think that was part of it. I was like, who is this frickin' lady? And I couldn't figure it out, and I couldn't figure out how I could possibly fit into that. And I know you've had people and have had female identifying people in companies be like, what the heck, Bruce, why? And I think it's just for the reason that you say. It's how do I play something that seems to me, from my perception of my judgment of this character, so far from me. And then I think I was hopefully able to just say, well, but this is a person, how do I honor them? And I think that's the core, and I think that's the root of what you're saying. And yeah, I
have to say, I think that actors today, at our particular point in time right now, are very wary of that and very scared to play something outside of themselves, which I understand, but also saddens me in a way, because then it really limits the work. If we're only going to be playing ourselves, then why don't we just do performance art? Why are we bothering to do a play that someone else wrote and even pretending to tell someone else's story, if we're only comfortable playing who and what we understand in the world? That's what our imagination is for, just to take us to places that we don't understand. There's a great thing that Meryl Streep said, about, I'm paraphrasing now, but she won her first Oscar for playing a mother in Kramer versus Kramer. And she said, it was before I'd ever had children. But she said, the mother that I would be was already inside of me. So in her imagination, she could take herself to that maternal place and play a mother easily. So I think we shortchange ourselves sometimes when we don't let our imaginations really fly where they can go,
Yeah. Well, and I think that was a big takeaway for me from the entire freshman year of acting, and with Lucinda and Steve and everyone, which I think is the point, hopefully, which was just to open that door and say, you have the tools, you just need to cultivate them and find what works for you. And everything that you need is within you. We're just trying to show you that it's there so that we can make this happen, and so that you can make the art that you want to make. And I think that is something that's just propelled me throughout all of my years in the program.
Good. That's great. Because I think that those particular tools you're talking about are ones that are fearful to most of us. We're scared of exercising those things that through most of our education, we've not been asked to exercise very often.
Yeah, being an actor is freaking terrifying.
Yeah, most of our education has been about, analytical, linear learning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can kind of remember, and I always ask this question, and I want to know about your experience. I can remember the first time when I made a real, genuine connection on stage, and how euphoric and magical that was, to be embodying a character and their spirit and their story, and then having a human connection with another person who I knew, but who was also embodying someone else fully and completely. And I think it really happened. My first professional show that I did, well, it was my third professional show that I did. I'm not trying to flex. I just can't remember right now. And I was just in rehearsal and I just made eye contact. It was simple. There were no words, but I just made eye contact and I was fully invested and they were fully invested. And I was like, holy shit, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, because that's so powerful. And the audience sees that. Everybody in the room can feel it. It's crazy. And I want to know, it was a production of Wolf Hall at Main Street Theater in Houston. And I want to know what your first experience of that one. And Kira, if you have one too.
I do.
Now we're talking about ancient history, Clara. That's probably longer ago than
No way. Or just one, just a profound moment that you experienced that sort of almost indescribable magic of, I feel sort of like a laser beam of energy and love. I don't know how to, I don't know how to exactly describe it.
Well, usually they happen when something goes wrong, when something bad happens on stage. Mm-hmm. And then everything, we kind of pull at our deepest resources to kind of get ourselves out of whatever the bad thing was that happened. And we realize how in it we really are. And that if we were not that in it, we couldn't pull ourselves out of it. And that's happened, several times. I think, I try to tell, I'm trying, Kira, not to use gender specifics. I'm trying to wean myself away from saying you guys all the time.
Me too. Me too.
You gerbils, you cats and kittens. I try to tell you all these things in class because I think, whenever we have, our greatest lessons are from when we mess up, when we screw up on stage. And that's when we learn the most about ourselves as performers, I think. And I think I told you all this story about when it was opening night of Romeo and Juliet. This was several years ago when I was playing Friar Lawrence, as I mentioned earlier. Mm. And in the very last scene, in the tomb scene, when they're dead and all the families come back and all that stuff, and Friar Lawrence has this huge, long speech where he tells the two families everything that's happened and his own part in everything. And it's a very emotional speech, and I'm sobbing and all this stuff. And I went up on opening night. I forgot my lines. And, the emotional part still continued. I got one other story. This is one, but I thought of another one that actually is maybe a better example. But anyway, I went up on my lines and, it's something that maybe is about 2 seconds, feels like it's 5 minutes on stage. And I just looked at the actor playing the prince, who was a friend of mine, and he knew what was happening. He knew I had gone up. And he just looked at me and he just nodded his head. And I was just overwhelmed with this feeling of, confidence or warmth or something. And all I did was take one step downstage, which was my next bit of blocking. And as soon as I took that step, physical step that I knew I was supposed to make, everything came back to me. So that was a fantastic lesson to me in terms of am I using this term correctly, kinesthetic learning, that everything is in the body? And
yes.
all the words are there in the body, and all you have to do is physicalize what the next thing is, and the words come back to you. Anyway, the other moment that you were, the question you were asking, Clara, about that moment of talking about being in it. This was a few years ago. I was playing Leontes in The Winter's Tale. Mm-hmm. And the young woman playing my daughter was someone I had such a great affection for as an actor and as a person. And of course, Leontes doesn't meet her until the fifth act of the play, when she comes back, and he meets his daughter for the first time when she's 16 years old. And she arrives with her fiance, who is the son of my best friend, Florizel. And I'm looking at these two people, both of them actors that I just adored. And it wasn't opening night, it was somewhere during the run of the play. But that was the feeling. And I have to say that was one of those really, really happy experiences, rehearsing and that whole production. Also a role I'd always wanted to play my whole life. I had directed it before, but I'd never played it. Anyway, I found myself in Act 5, on stage with these two actors. And I had to cross the stage to them and just kind of take both of them by the shoulder and talk to them. And I looked at the two of them and I couldn't stop crying. I just started weeping as I started talking to them. And I know it was one of those things, it was not Bruce being so in character, that it was just one of those things where kind of the play and real life came together. And my affection for these two actors kind of just came into the moment. And then Emily, the woman playing Perdita, she just could hardly keep her stuff together as she looked at me and playing the rest of the scene, because we were both just wanting to kind of hold each other. But that became a very kind of Michael Chekhov moment then, because what we wanted to do was hold each other, but we couldn't because of the blocking and the staging. So we just had to do while our inner bodies were hugging each other.
Conflict.
So that was one of those kind of moments where everything kind of came together in a weird kind of life meets art meets life moment.
Yeah.
And those don't happen that often, every once in a while. Yeah.
That's why I think, Kira, go. You go.
Okay. Well, first I have to tell you, as I was picturing Prince, your friend, not your friend Prince, but your friend who's playing the Prince, just nod at you. I got these warm tingles up my entire body. So thank you for that gift. That was, wow. I can only imagine what.
Yeah. And I think we all experience those moments sometimes on stage where we know, and I say this to all of you in class all the time, is sometimes we're all each other has in this world. Actors, that's why I say actors really need to be kind to each other and take good care of each other and not get into the whole competitive thing or comparing yourself to each other, because sometimes you're all you've got. And those moments on stage like that one, Kira, where you recognize this person has my back. And he knew I had everything in me to get out of it, but I also knew that if I needed him, he was going to get me out of it. So anyway.
Gorgeous. I have one of my moments, actually, it was with a friend too, and it happened in a rehearsal. We were blocking, this was, we were doing Pippin. I have to shout out Bradley Johnson, and there's this moment, so my character kind of just lurked around the stage, the thrust, up in, we had these, kind of levels, and up in the audience. So, Joe would be like, Joe Cavallo, the director, would say, Kira, just go where you want. And so that's what I would do in rehearsal in our Studio A space. I'd just kind of lurk around. And there was this moment where we couldn't really figure it out, because Bradley, as Pippin, was supposed to leave Catherine, who he had fallen in love with deeply. And he was saying, I just can't, and there was nothing in the script that really indicated why he would do that. And so just this thing happened. I was lurking, and Bradley and I made eye contact. And all of a sudden it became this insane laser connection, temptation, everything. And then that was, it kind of just happened organically as we were figuring out this blocking, that it was the leading player who took him back out, away from Catherine and back onto this kind of cult mission. And that was incredible. And we did it then, on stage every night. And, Bradley's just so special. He's just such an incredibly open and brilliant actor. And we were able to kind of recreate that laser connection, which I wasn't expecting at all, because, when those things happen and they're so special, it feels like a one-time thing, but it was really magical. That moment, it was wordless. He was singing, but we, took him away from. And
I'm guessing that as many times as you had to do that in performance, both of you returned to that moment that it first happened and remembered exactly what that was like. Even though it may never have been quite that same way ever again, it's the memory of that fuels us. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we have those things called rehearsals. So we can make those kinds of discoveries.
Right.
Yeah, I did. In high school, I was doing a production of The Three Sisters as Irina the day after Donald Trump got elected. And without being too political here, I was upset, and all of us were sort of in this. I mean, it's a play about wanting to be somewhere that you're not, and about yearning, and it was so beautiful, the story and the way that it connected to the moment. It was one of those times where almost by accident, the story that you're telling in whatever run of whatever show you're doing perfectly attaches itself to the moment. And I will never forget, because the way that it was blocked at the end, the three sisters are sitting together, and it's Irina ends the play in our version with this beautiful monologue about love and wanting and Moscow and all of these things, and everybody in the audience was just like sobbing. We were all sobbing because we knew it wasn't about what we were talking about. It was about, oh God, it was so cool. And I've seen shows like that you're just like, how did they frickin' know? That's so crazy.
And also, ironically, a play about the end of one civilization and the beginning of a new one that no one knew what it was going to be like.
Yeah.
And people were all scared. People were all terrified.
So scared. Yeah. Well, next, outside of the stage, Bruce, are there any other awesome things that you have engaged with that have also brought you joy, whether that be the joy of being able to pay rent or the joy of all other things, including but not limited to voice acting, commercial screenwriting, film, TV, and maybe potentially arts administration of some sort?
So are you asking about other things that I have accomplished or love to do within our work, or kind of?
Within being an actor, but outside of necessarily like being an actor on the stage. What are some things, and besides directing, because we'll get to that, what are some things that you have loved to do?
Well, teaching came really late for me. Mm-hmm. So that was a big discovery. I never wanted to teach because my mother was a teacher, and I watched her kind of come home from public school every day and complaining about grading papers and all this stuff. And I just thought, that sounds awful. I never want to do that. So I fell into teaching kind of by accident. And then once I did fall into it, I loved it and realized how much it meant to me, because I feel like teaching has made me a better actor, and being an actor has made me a better teacher and a better director, and all those three things kind of combined make up who I am as an artist. Yeah. And I wouldn't want to necessarily do away with any one of the three, because I think they all inform each other. Not sure that's a good answer to your question. I have occasionally done administrative kind of work and really not hated it, but found out I wasn't very good at it. So it just didn't, I did it because it allowed me to have a certain amount of, power is the wrong word, authority in a school situation. I headed a program for several years out in Colorado. And I loved being there and I loved doing it, and that's why I kind of accepted the administrator job, but I didn't like that part of it so much. I like it better when other people do that. Just like I'm a terrible stage manager, but I love nothing better than great stage managers,
Yeah.
Great stage manager is, to me, the hardest job in the theater, to be a great stage manager.
Period. I don't think there's any question about that. Absolutely.
Because I have done it a couple of times, but I'm no good at it, and it's really helped me appreciate people who do it well. It's like I waited tables when I was first out of college, and I was terrible at it. So I didn't do it for very long. But what it did to me, it made me a great tipper, because I really appreciate people who are good servers.
your staff.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was so bad at it, I understand what it is to be good at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I wasn't diagnosed with anxiety until too late in my life. And my high school teachers always said, well, you'd be a great stage manager because, you're organized. And then I tried it, and then I had so much. It was so bad. Oh God, because I was so anxious about everything being perfect. Yeah, it was not a good fit for me. So I totally feel you on that one. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and you mentioned in class often teaching at grad school. Is that what you meant in the school in Colorado where you were working, or is that
No, it was just a summer performing arts school.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I taught in grad programs in Savannah and Florida and Kansas City.
Wow, all over.
Yeah. A traveling Jen.
That's been, when I was kind of misunderstanding your question about things outside of acting that I love doing is travel.
Yeah.
If I have a passion in life outside of what we do, it's for traveling and seeing places, which is what's been driving me crazy since last March, is not being able to go anywhere.
Yeah. My question was not the best, Bruce. Thank you for taking it and making it into something.
Gorgeous. Clara, I may be stealing your question, but Bruce, you've been directing for quite a long time. Is that right? Yeah. What has been kind of your, I suppose, landing point as of who you were when you started and how you are now? Has your directing process changed? I mean, based on just how theater has changed and how kind of the way we look at it, kind of what we mentioned earlier, how casting has changed.
I think my journey in directing has been a really interesting one, maybe not interesting to anybody else, but just to me in terms of my understanding of the work, my understanding of myself. I think I used to have such a unrespectful, is that a word? Disrespectful view of myself as an artist. I thought that I was a good actor if I had a good director and I was well cast. And if I didn't have those two things in place, it was a crapshoot. This was before I went into formal training, when I went into quote unquote classical training. And that's why I wanted formal training. Now I feel like if I'm not cast that well, and if I'm not working with a terrific director, I can still bring integrity to my work. So that was what training did for me. But about the directing thing, what surprised me about directing was how I found out I did have strong opinions about things. I did have things to say about the world. I did know how to take a piece of material that a playwright gave us on paper and filter that through myself. And that surprised me. I didn't know that I had that ability. And when you first start doing anything, it's kind of just by instinct, and that's how I started directing. And it was a couple of years into directing, and I directed a production of As You Like It, and a friend of mine who'd known me for many, 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 many years, but she didn't know me as a director, and she came to see this production of As You Like It, and she was just, when it was over, she just came up and hugged me, and she was crying, and she just said, and I said, what's wrong? This is a comedy. And she said, no, but you are all over that stage. And I never thought of it that way before, that she said, in every single choice that was on that stage, you were there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what helped me to understand how personal that work can be. And what I love about the work I've gotten to do as a director is I've kind of done everything I've done all kinds of things. I've done musicals, I've done Shakespeare, I've done Pinter, I've done Chekhov, I've done all kinds of things. And I think I have a bigger range as a director than I do as an actor, certainly.
Yeah.
It's so exciting to hear you talk about kind of growing into your own opinions. That's kind of where I'm at right now as a young green person, and a young green director, choreographer is, well, what are my opinions? What do I think of the world? And it's definitely, I mean, a time journey, right? Like, I feel like the more time goes by, the more opportunities come by to decide and to make choices about what I think and what I want.
And so much of that, Kira, is simply about trusting yourself, I think. I know it was for me.
Yeah. I find that to be particularly difficult in this time when so much of my identity and how I view myself as an artist is rooted in my relationships with other people. And so isolation has been particularly taxing in that way of allowing me to sort of get lost in my own mental health struggles that I deal with, and forgetting how powerful each of our voices are and how much heart we each bring to the stage. And hearing you say that just made me miss it all the much more. But it's also a good reminder that we are, even though I hate this word and I think we're all tired of it, in a very unprecedented time. Nobody has a roadmap, and but it has been good because I've had I think, and hopefully for performances as well, we've had to learn who we are. It's a reminder to be someone outside of theater, because you are a theater artist, but you're also a person, and you need to learn who you are and what makes you tick outside of that. So has been an incredibly humbling, but also I think vastly important reminder. If there's any silver lining for me, that has definitely been one of those. And I'm using that as a segue, Bruce, to ask you about some quarantine crafts. Have you done anything like bread baking, or I don't know, anything that maybe is new, tried a new hobby or new skill, or cultivated an old one in this time of lockdown? I'm
ashamed to say no. Okay, well, I guess, like a lot of people, I'm spending a lot more time outside than I normally would, just because I'm finding getting out for long walks is really, really helpful to me and helping my mental health. And I live just 2 blocks from the river, so it's easy to go there and take beautiful long walks by the river. But no, and I think if I had a better kitchen, I would have gotten into baking or something like that, but I don't have a really good facility to do that. And I think most of us, when we realized we were going to be inside for a long time and kept away from other people for a long time, felt like, oh, well, I'm going to write the great American play, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And I think early on, I thought, don't put that pressure on yourself. And now, I know one thing I thought I would do that I thought was a great idea. I was going to, take up, one of those crash online courses you can do in a foreign language. I was going to learn Spanish or Italian or something. Didn't happen. Although, could still, I guess. We've got a break coming up, don't we?
That is true. I'm going to do some breathing.
Good. Very essential. Bruce, I know you have to leave soon. Could we ask you, so we have one more question, and we ask this to all of our guests that we have. It's kind of melodramatic, but the question is, why theater? So in a time where we're kind of having to be creative and adaptable, and it's hard. It's so hard. I think it's just, we ask this to kind of remind ourselves why we got into it in the first place and why it needs to exist.
Yeah, I've got a I think I was talking with an actor the other day, a student, who was asking me something similar, but in a different way. Asking me if I ever questioned myself of why do this, or is that, do I still want to do this? I said, all the time. I mean, I used to do that all the time. I mean, I can remember certainly when I was your age, or for the next 15 years, I was every 6 months going through this existential crisis, of is this still what I want to do? Do I still think I can do this? Am I good enough? Am I this? Am I that? Or, all those horrible, torturing questions that we put ourselves through. Mm-hmm. And finally, I reached a point where I just kind of got tired of going through that crisis every 6 months. And I just came to the realization, just deal with it, Bruce. This is what you do, who you are, and this is who you're going to stay. I did try other things. I went through a period of real disillusionment in the business and the work and the industry, and I quit acting for 4 years and moved to Los Angeles and tried working on the production side of the business, which I did and hated it. I had a great time living out there. It was a wonderful experience. I learned a lot about myself, but I also learned that I wanted to come back to acting, needed to come back to acting, because it was really all I cared about doing. I could do other things. Anybody can do other things. Anyone can. We're all capable of so many things, really, in the world.
Yeah.
But it was all I really wanted to do. And since I've come back, and since I made that decision to come back, and that's when I went back into training, into graduate school, everything in my life since then has been a direct or indirect result of that decision. So those 4 years that I took away from acting were kind of a magical time for me, because it changed my whole point of view on what I do and why I do it. It's kind of a long roundabout answer to a simple question, but
it's beautiful. I mean, yeah. I feel, everyone who's answered this question, it's had to be roundabout, because there are so many challenges and ups and downs and, joyous moments and those moments that brought you back. So thank you.
I think also this is kind of an addenda to that. Addendum. What's the singular?
Addendum. I think so. Yeah.
I think many people have the misconception that actors are extroverts. I think many actors are introverts. And performing is our way of being heard, is our way of saying something to the world that we don't know how or are incapable of saying any other way. So I know that's true of me too. Is that basically I'm a pretty shy person, introverted. I've had to overcome that to perform. I've had to overcome that to teach, certainly. Mm-hmm. But during this pandemic, it's really easy to shut that door and be that shy person.
Yeah.
So definitely. For me, it's a matter of, it's the only way I know how to really communicate.
Yeah, I always describe myself as an introvert who loves people. Because I do. Good. I get people starved. Like, I was talking to somebody in the grocery store the other day for absolutely no reason. But it's because I wanted to. And then I was like, okay, I don't need to talk to anybody else for the rest of the day.
Got my fix, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to you
I
too.
feel like I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours, and I have, but
that doesn't mean we can't talk in the future for hours and hours and hours.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for sharing your voice with this public audience and gifting everyone with your wise words.
Thanks for asking me. I really have enjoyed it. And good to meet you finally, Kira. Yeah.
Yes, so good to meet you too. I'm so glad.
Well, good luck both of you with your finals and everything you have coming up. So
thank you. Give the first years my love. Thank you.
Thanks again. Take care.
Thanks so much.
Mwah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Clara and Bruce. That was such a fun interview. I can't stop thinking about the moment that we were all talking about when you make that connection on stage for that first time, and it's so viscerally, like you said, euphoric. That it's like burned into your memory.
It kind of it's when I am having those questions like Bruce was talking about, those sort of existential questions about, is this what I want to do or is it not? That is an experience that grounds me, because it just reminds me of how uniquely profound the work that we do is, and that it is work and that it's going to suck sometimes, but then there are those moments that make everything worth it, and just to remember those when it's hard and when you have to step away from it like we are now, at least in person. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm so thankful for these conversations. It feels very grounding. Yeah. All right. So we have some awesome segments. I'm so excited for these this week for you today. So for our artist profile of the week, we have the ephemeral. Is that a word? What does that word mean? I think that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. The enlightened, the gorgeous, the
Great.
Maria Tallchief. So she was considered America's first major prima ballerina, and she's the first Indigenous dancer. She's a member of the Osage Nation to hold that rank, and she is said to have absolutely revolutionized ballet. So at the age of 17, she moved to New York City in search of a spot with a major ballet company, and then she spent the next 5 years with Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo, where she met choreographer George Balanchine. And when Balanchine co-founded what would become the New York City Ballet in 1946, Tallchief became the company's first star, which is incredible.
That's so cool. I can't imagine moving to New York by myself at 17.
17.
That's
And
crazy.
just hoping to land it big. And then she did. So the combination of Balanchine's difficult choreography and Tallchief's passionate dancing revolutionized ballet, according to this article that I was reading. So her 1949 role in The Firebird catapulted Tallchief to the top of the ballet world. Yeah, establishing her as that prima ballerina. Her role as the Sugar Plum Fairy in the Nutcracker, it really transformed the ballet from obscure to America's most popular. It's kind of crazy to think of the Nutcracker as obscure because it is.
Yeah.
So it's such a tradition, and it's so
well, and also consumerism has totally taken it by the reins. Like Houston, I don't know if this happens anywhere else, but in Houston we have this thing called the Nutcracker Market, which is like this. It's associated with the Houston Ballet, and a lot. I think I don't know a huge amount about it, but I think some of it funds it. But it is this huge craft fair essentially of all Christmas related items. Yeah, and a lot of it's handmade. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I'm also biased because Clara, the Nutcracker. I always thought it was really special. Yeah.
Right, you are Clara. Yes, beautiful. So Tallchief, after she retired from dance, was active in promoting ballet in Chicago. So she served as the director of ballet for the Lyric Opera of Chicago for the most of the 1970s, and debuted the Chicago City Ballet in 1981. She was honored by the people of Oklahoma, where she's from, with multiple statues and an honorific day. And she was also inducted in the National Women's Hall of Fame and received a National Medal of the Arts. And in 1996, Tallchief received a Kennedy Center honor for lifetime achievements. Y'all, she is the real deal.
As she should.
Right. And so Sandy and Yasu Aswa of Upstream Productions in Seattle, Washington, made a documentary titled Maria Tallchief in November of 2007, and it aired on PBS for a while. Definitely check it out. There are clips on YouTube that I found. Some of them are kind of indiscreet titles, like interesting. What was it? It was like interesting ballet documentary, but it's the Maria Tallchief doc. So it's out there. Definitely
just the ways to get around YouTube's little regulations and whatever.
Right.
But if you want to find it, you can find it, is what Kira's saying.
True. My favorite is when you're finding a bootleg and it's labeled like not legally blonde,
and it's like, well, come on, but we got to do it. We're broke. We want to see things. We got to look for it on the YouTube.
If it's out there. Yeah. All right. So for our student feature of the week, I love this human so much. Filson Saeed is so cool, you all. She has such a beautiful, full spirit that I love being in a room with her. And I'm so excited to listen to what she has to say and to share it with all of you. Hello, Filson.
Hi everyone, my name is Saeed. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm currently a senior attaining my Bachelor's of Individualized Study degree with the concentrations in Geography, African American and African Studies, and Theater Arts. One of the most memorable classes I had the pleasure of taking was in the spring of 2019. It was the Global Avant-Garde Theater Music Modernity of the Global South class with Professor Sonali. My favorite part, honestly, was the reading, to be honest, because it was about specific independence movements against imperialism, colonialism, and straight-up oppression, and how these prevalent sentiments were expressed through the art of theater and music. It was very beautiful to see to make those connections. I also saw Is God Is during my time as an assignment, and it was amazing. Currently, the thing that brings me joy is painting. It's a hobby I developed while working in rural Maine at an all-girls summer camp. I was an arts and craft instructor who was very fond of abstract pieces, and I just developed a passion for it. I haven't painted in a while because of school work and familial obligations, but I'm so looking forward to the next time I dust off the paintbrushes. Another thing that brings me joy is I have a little brother who's in middle school right now, and he would always interrupt me when I'm in the middle of homework or doing something and just wants to talk and play games, and he brings me joy because he thinks I'm fun enough to talk to, I guess. So this piece of advice is a reminder to me as well as to all of you is to take more risk in whatever way you can, no matter how big or small it may feel to you. A risk is a risk regardless, and you can learn so much about yourself in the process. Also, finding space to meditate and pray, especially, and just having those moments and connections alone, really, and finding those revelations about yourself are also crucial, at least to me, and I highly recommend it. They're beautiful moments. I also hope that everyone has a wonderful day, and may you all end the semester strong. And if not, don't stress it. We are living in a pandemic, and it's honestly not that deep. For real. Don't beat yourself up over it. My main social media is Instagram. My handle is my name, but it's spelled wrong. It's 2 F's, ILSAAN. Spelt out is FFILSAAN. Thank you to the UMNTAD peers. Thanks, Kira, for asking me to guest star. Shout out to Kira. I hope everyone is great. Thank you.
All right, Philson, thank you so much. And I cannot wait to see your clowning performance and physical approaches. We're working on those right now, Clara. It's with Laverne, and we're working on these. It's called 5 Minutes of Stupidity, where we create a bit as a clown, right? Where you just can't comprehend what's going on. You can't win. You're not really frustrated. It's just this bit, right? But
clowning is fun. So hard.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Yeah, we had a clowning workshop, and oh my gosh, it's some taxing work. I commend you all. 5 minutes of that sounds like a lot. I love watching clowns do their thing, but
yeah,
you don't know as an audience member until you do it how much energy that takes. It's insane.
Right. Crazy. Awesome. All right.
And we took it with Bob, I think. What's the professor's name?
Bob Rosen?
I don't want to say that. Yeah, Bob Rosen. Yes, the wonderful man. Yes, his name slipped me mind, but he's lovely. A lovely man.
Lovely man. Okay, Clara, do you want to ask the question of the week?
Yeah. I do want to ask the question of the week, Kira. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Y'all, the question of the week for you is, what is your favorite breakfast food?
That's a great question. Do you have one?
Well, listen. Sometimes it's bacon, egg, and cheese. And no, wait, what? Let me backtrack. Sometimes it's a bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddle from McDonald's with a large iced coffee with vanilla. If anybody wants to give me that sometime just randomly, now you have it. But if I'm at home and I'm like not spending all my wages at McDonald's, it's such an odd way of saying that. It's just a scrambled egg with a bagel, or just a scrambled egg, or just some cereal. But I always have to eat breakfast. I wake up starving every morning. Like, I have to eat as soon as I get up. It's just the way my body is.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm kind of boring. I never thought I would be this person, but I have the same thing for breakfast every morning.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you eat?
It's so good, though. It's a banana blueberry peanut butter smoothie, and so it's all frozen, and I put cinnamon, like a lot of cinnamon and oats and almond milk in there, and it's like ice cream. It's like ice cream for breakfast, but it's like fruit and oats. So.
That's so lovely. Yeah. You know, I went on a Facebook Market spree when we first moved into our house, because all of us had either had like other furniture or it was furnished, and so we needed to furnish our place. And I just decided we needed a NutriBullet, and the only thing we used it for is alcoholic beverages.
As you needed for.
but we will hopefully make some smoothies in the future. It's just been a crazy semester, and I feel like it feels like it's blown by, but also been the longest thing ever. Just because operating in this world is so hard right now. But I feel so fortunate to have a roof over my head and, you know, food and all of those things. But yeah, shout out to all the students. We love you. We're here with you. We're going through it too. We know we're all going through it. And our teachers and professors, thank you for being awesome. We love you.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I second that. I've been so thankful for the people that are around and that are on the street and in the grocery store. You were just saying about how you started talking to someone in the grocery store, and I do the same thing where it's just like, oh my gosh, I love the current too. Like, I love your t-shirt, you know, and then we're just chatting. But it's just, I mean, it's the small things. It's really the small things.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I forget where I was the other day. I just have random conversations with strangers. It does drive my girlfriend crazy because she is more, well, she's not, we're both about the same amount of introvert, but I'm a theater person, you know, so I'm fucking crazy. Right. Am I allowed to curse? I've been cursing this whole time.
No, cursing is allowed.
Okay, so great. Frick yeah.
Frick yeah.
But I just started having a conversation. Oh, the person who was checking me out at Cub. We started talking about Lord knows what. But we talked for the entire time I was checking out because nobody else was in line behind me. So I heard all about they had dogs, and we talked about standing at work all day, and they had oh my gosh, it was like, you know, if you listen and you stand there for long enough, people will just tell you their life story, which is so neat.
Yeah. I love that. So cool. All right. I kind of just don't want this episode to end. I kind of just want to keep talking. But so just some closing thoughts for you. You're doing a great job. You're doing them. I normally don't swear on this podcast, but you're doing a fucking great job. Like you are.
Oh my gosh. She said it, y'all. She said it.
Fucking great job. Just great. Just too great to not say it. So definitely hang in there. We're so close. We're like almost in the home stretch. And then we'll get a nice
we're so
break.
close.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, I just burped on live television. But no, seriously, we're so close, and just like in so many, just breathe, just keep breathing, and just remember that you'll be getting some good food, hopefully, and good family hugs and vibes. And if you can't go home, we're also here for you. Reach out to us. Reach out if you need help. There are people who want to help you if you're feeling some type of way. So, yeah.
Yes. True story. All right.
And more wise words coming your way from Rachel, who we love.
Yay!
Hello, everyone. For my wise words of the week, I have a little bit of a hot take. So, buckle up, get ready. My hot take of the week is that you as a human being, actually, you're worth more than your productivity. I know, hot take. And that, you know, especially when we're in school, it feels like, you know, we're only as good as, like, the essay we turned in, or, like, how good we are at reaching due dates, or, like, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, no. You're worth so much more as a human being. You're worth your relationships with other people, your friendships, like, who you make time for and the joy that you find in that. You're worth the food that you make to, like, nourish your body and, like, the way you move your body. You're the art that you make, whether that's, like, a full theater production or just, like, a little sketch in a book. Like, you are worth so much more than, like, whatever homework you're struggling to finish right now. So just wanted to give you that reminder. Like, it's okay if at this point in the semester you're feeling really burnt out and, like, it's hard right now because there's not a lot to look forward to, just because, like, the holidays aren't as they normally are, and Zoom classes really be reaching a different level right now. So yes, I just wanted to give you the reminder that you are doing okay. You're actually doing so good, and we are proud of you. So go have a good, like, last week and a half of classes, and really enjoy the break because you deserved it. So yes, have a good week. Bye.
This episode of the Purecast is edited by Rachel Breeze, programmed by Hunter Batterson and Caitlin McLean, and our music is composed by Raymond New. Right.
Let's coronavirus, so we can't do that.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Can't do it.
All right, should we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, we should wrap it up like a big old present.
Let's do it. Let's do it.